Chuck Wilder, CRN. Let me tell you about my guest, Kimberly Dvorak. She is the award-winning National Security Border Security Investigative Reporter for television, radio, and the print media. She is also the Senior Foreign Policy Advisor for the Committee for Responsible Foreign Policy. She's a TV correspondent, CW6 News San Diego, One America News Network. Her website is thekdreport.com. And most importantly, all right, she streams live during these reports at periscope.com and Facebook, and later she posts on YouTube. Kimberly, how are you?
I'm fine. How about yourself, Chuck?
I am fair to partly cloudy, and you got a couple of good reports here that I want to talk about. You know, I'm telling you, if the Chinese are not spreading this or that, they're picking up on this or that, here you got one, and it's not worse than the virus, I'll put it this way, but it could be.
Yeah.
Chinese intelligence operation called Sub-National Corporation. Seems like perhaps they've snuck into us another way, right?
Yeah, well, there's an organization that we've now kind of uncovered. It's not getting a lot of media coverage, which is shocking, I must say. But the name of the organization, let me get it right, it's quite a long one. It's the Chinese People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries. And this is basically just another organization that is a front for the Communist Party inside China. So what they're looking to do, and what Secretary of State Pompeo actually highlighted recently, is that this organization has gone to America's governors of all of our states and has tried to, put together a list, who's friendly, who's hostile, and who's ambiguous about the whole situation, in an effort to go into states that might not be doing as well, like Michigan or Iowa, who might be struggling with the farming, and say, look, here we are, we want to do business with you. Please do business. We'll help you. We could be mutually beneficial to one another. And after Mr. Pompeo gave his speech, he was dismayed with the fact that the majority of the governors there had no idea that the people they were working with were actually representatives of the Chinese government and representing their Communist Party. So, moving forward, at least Pompeo stressed that there was something that needed to be happened. Hopefully he'll start giving some intel briefing to some of these governors, because these governors had no idea, and we're beginning the process of working with China. So very scary.
Yeah, it's sort of like the Iowa governor you mentioned, very surprised about that. Oh, wow, somebody just turned on the light bulb, I guess. And you think that, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it's pretty scary. These are people that actually do have access to intelligence inside the United States. Clearly not getting any briefing too much on this, but it's pretty scary that the American people elect these people to govern their states, and they're not, they have no idea what's going on. They're allowing the Chinese to infiltrate our American way of life, the way we do business. So as you just said, that they can steal and profit and completely disintegrate the United States of America, which they're going to be able to do if we don't stop them without firing a shot, because they'll just own us all.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting, Kimberly, the average age of governors in all of the states, and 57 even for Obama. Okay?
Yeah.
The average age, do you think they've been indoctrinated already with the colleges they went through and high school, like the kids are today? They don't know what's going on, and they don't realize what the word communism means for something. It's like maybe it's just a little individual country, that maybe we should sign up a trade agree with them or some trade treaty with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ill-prepared was the word I think you used in your thing.
And here, the other thing I can look at is there's been kind of a bit of uptick in these Confucius institutes, and these Confucius institutes are put out there by the Chinese government, and they're actually located on college campuses across this country. They actually pay for themselves. They'll donate money to the college and universities. So they're like, hey, it's a win-win. We're getting money. They're paying for their own program. Don't worry about it. But when they're doing this is exactly what you just said with the college education. Maybe many of these governors went through the colleges that have these institutes on it, and maybe they just thought that it was okay because, it's a whole global environment out there right now, and we're all working with everybody. We all love Cuba. We love the Castros, apparently. Yeah. We love, these dictators across the world. But that could be one way because, younger people, they're looking at like, well, let's get along with one another and we need to be kind to everybody. And they just don't have that life experience to make them cautious.
In that respect, getting along, and we're talking about how the young people are uneducated, but you point out the fact, what about the old people? Let's take an old senator like, I hate to call her old, but been around forever, Dianne Feinstein, Democrat in California, working with a Chinese spy in her car all these times. Oh, well, he never, I guess she never got on a cell phone in the back seat and started talking secret stuff.
No, and he actually did have access to a lot of the documents of the, that California state needs to move forward. So let me tell you what the Chinese spy was probably, what he did outside what, Feinstein thought, he was just a nobody. He was getting statewide information through California. He was organizing employees that he was going to, be working with, and he could guide the senator, say, here's some great people we need to hire for your office in San Francisco. So, he was much more involved than Senator Feinstein really wants to, let on. And I think here in this situation where we allowed Senator Feinstein to be let off the hook, in essence, maybe she didn't know this guy was a spy or whatnot, but the FBI should have definitely gotten involved here. I mean, they did the whole thing, Russia. They got into all of that. Well, China is actually a bigger threat to the United States than Russia. So one would think that this would be the FBI going, China, we need to go after me to find out what this guy knew. We need to see, who he was in contact with, grab his, computers, his cell phones, and figure out what he was, sending over to his bosses over in China. Now, that didn't happen because Senator Feinstein is a Democrat. California is a completely navy blue state. And the FBI probably didn't see fit that they wanted to go after one of their own. So they didn't. But these are issues that absolutely are staggering. And just one last point, her and her husband are worth approximately $94 million. And there's a lot of reports. I haven't, read them all, but there have been several reports written that the majority of that money that they've made has come via China and investing in China and getting the heads up to invest in certain businesses. So, if she's still doing that and they still are making money on China, then that's something that does need to be investigated.
Yeah, and here she had this guy for 20 years, right, in her organization, so to speak. Probably stood outside the door, secret meetings with a stethoscope in his ear, listening to whatever was going on. I wonder if he warned her about coronavirus. Is that possible? A biochemical weapon we're going to spread it. They're going to be spreading it. I don't want you to get hurt, Dianne.
Yeah.
No, you've helped me so well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Boy.
Well, it just when you look at the fairness in all of this, I mean, and people understand this, that China actually is a huge threat to this country because not only are they stealing our intellectual property, but they are a huge, competent country. And Russia is like down on the list because they're not even, when you look at the money that they have in their pockets, it's a very small, since the USSR was broken up, Obama was right. Russia, in essence, became a regional power. Now, China is a world power, and they've already surpassed us in a lot of different areas. And the United States, when you see things like this, it's stunning, again, to see that our governors, who all of them are on this list, and they have a ranking, and they've got all kinds of intel put next to their name, and how they can go in and create, partnerships with these people. In essence, they're embedding moles, in essence, around this country. So it seems like China's kind of moved to the next phase of this, where they've stolen all of the intellectual property we have, and now they're just kind of slowly moving. Now we're going to start going in and talking to governors, and now they're starting to talk with senators and with congressmen, and then they'll do it at a local level. I mean, again, China will be slowly doing this, and they will slowly take over this country, and Americans will have no idea, and they'll go, well, wait a minute, no, we don't want that. We'll be too late by then. So it's just something to keep in the back of our minds, for sure.
Was it, Governor Brown, California, before he left office, went over and decided to write his own global warming treaty with China or something on his own? Yeah. And they don't care when they get out of office, the Logan Act, what the heck's that? Yeah. No one's ever been prosecuted for that, I don't guess. Yeah. And this Russia and Chinese collusion and all this other stuff, and I was mentioning earlier today about, Russia collusion, bringing that up again. And boy, I'm telling you, Putin has been collusioning, that's a good word, yes, with Trump. Keep it up. My goodness, the lowest unemployment for black, the highest stock markets ever, highest economy. Yeah, just keep up this collusion. It's working real good. Unbelievable. And so far, I haven't bought one Russian gun or toy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hey, Kimberly, you got another story. You can comment on that if you want, but we also have another story where these drug cartel people stooping to as low as you can go, bringing drugs across. But do you want to get into that now, or do you have another comment about that?
No, that's okay. We can talk about that. I think that this is another story, especially for parents who have children that live near a border with Mexico. The cartels have gone, they're starting to recruit American kids, the ones that are, probably around 16, they're looking for kids, in probably the lower socioeconomic background, who want to make some quick extra money and see moving drugs across the country as an easy way to make an easy buck, so they can buy their iPods and their iPads and all of the tools and or drugs that they're looking at. So the cartels have zeroed in on this group of people that it would be easy. It's easy. So when they put the drugs in the back of their truck or their car, whatever, they drive across, they show their American passport, and they're not as likely to get pulled over by CBP. Right. So you're looking now, and then of course, when they do get pulled over by CBP, they're being arrested and they're going to go to court and they go to juvie. And, this is not a good way to make your extra money if you're in high school. But the cartels have already got the drugs across. And so they're kind of one-stepping or just being one step ahead of the U.S. government when it comes to that southern border. By using Americans, it makes it easier to get their drugs across. And if they get caught, they're like, oh, well, they're Americans. We don't care about them anyways. So you're seeing the cartels adjust to new security measures that the United States government has put into place to kind of capture these drugs, to detect and find them. So, like any good business, and I always say the cartels are business. I mean, they're a business, and they're, one of the wealthiest businesses in the world. And they know that people want to do their drugs, so they'll do this. And as a result, they're trying to use American kids so that they can get more and more product across the line. So, and with the opioid epidemic here, it's kind of staggering the increase in meth now. The meth is back up on the most popular drug list to do now. They're mixing that with the fentanyl. And the cartels are just looking at how they're going to move their drugs across the border. That's their business, and they come up with ideas. And their latest is to use American kids to do this.
And I thought fentanyl was the step above taking, normal painkillers. That fentanyl was the best thing you could get.
Yeah.
And now they're adding stuff to fentanyl, which is another fentanyl plus, I guess you'd call it. I don't know.
Yeah, and what they've done now with the new meth, that's actually now the epidemic we're starting to see it in this country. With the meth, it's all synthetic. So when you look at, if you do cocaine, you've got to find the coca leaves, you've got to do this. If you're doing marijuana, you got to, harvest the plants and do all of this. But with meth, it's all synthetic. So it can all be done in underground labs wherever you might be. So this is like the new, and it's cheap. So this is a way for them to, augment their business, I guess, and keep it completely synthetic. That way they don't have to rely on any other country to get these ingredients. So, and that's...
Let me ask you a Cortez moment here, okay? If it's synthetic, is it harder for the drug dogs to detect it?
Yes. Up front it is. It is difficult for them to get. But once the DEA, and the DEA is really good at this, and they've really got a lot of fentanyl because they had to retrain their dogs. But they retrained them for whatever new product or whatever seems to be, this year's fad drug or whatnot. So
they're staying on top of it, is
yes,
what you're saying.
They are.
We're going to take a break. Finish that thought when we come back. Senior Foreign Policy Advisor for the Committee for Responsible Foreign Policy. So, was my question way out? Was the Cortez moment? Was it? Go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to give the listeners and viewers just a few of the facts about the increase in this. These numbers are just in Arizona. In 2018, there were 36 kids that were arrested at the border for moving drugs. Last year, that number rose to 57. And so far this year, there's been 17 arrests. So just 6 weeks or so, they've had 17 arrests, and this is in Arizona. So when we talk about the dogs, grappling, getting the fentanyl and moving along, the CBP has also moved forward with an educational program that they're putting together that they take to area middle schools and high schools and warn them of the dangers of this, what happens if you get arrested for this, just to kind of, get kids, at least have them be aware of the consequences. And so by doing that, the Customs and Border Protection, Border Patrol also do programs like this, but it's getting out there to young people now because they know they're being, recruited. So you get to those young people and say, look, if you do that, these are the consequences. And hopefully that will, get some kids out there going, you know what, man, I'm not going to do that. I'm not getting involved in that. Ruins my life, blah, blah, blah. That's the hope, but that's exactly, what the, U.S. Customs and Border Protection folks, as well as Border Patrol, are doing, trying to get that message to high schoolers and to middle school kids. So to make sure that, they don't fall for a cartel member saying, hey, quick, easy money, will give you $500. I mean, to a kid, that making minimum wage at $5 an hour, $500 is like, a huge deal. So, it's just, getting the message and then also educating these kids. And hopefully some of this stuff goes home to the parents so the parents can actually watch for some of this, earmarks of what their kids may be doing, how nervous they may be, or how to detect what they're doing.
To put it in perspective, the drugs are smuggled across the border, and then American children are the ones that are recruited to spread the drugs. And you say some of them as young as 12 years of age.
Yep.
Boy. Ah, man. And then next you say it's going to be pregnant women, right?
Probably. I mean, it's just,
That's as young as you can get right there, smuggling the drug. I'm telling you.
Well, elderly people, like I said, the cartels, this is a business for them, and they're looking for the easiest way to get their drugs across the border. The U.S. is building up more and more defense systems for detecting this, so they're looking for easy and easier methods to get their drugs across the border. So, where does this go next? I mean, hopefully we just can kind of, seal off the border a little bit more and wean Americans off of these drugs.
Yeah, well, it's very dangerous out there.
It is.
Very, very dangerous. And easy way to make money, but an easier way, I guess, to leave Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Well, Kimberly, time's run out here, and looking forward to your next visit. By the way, listeners, don't forget, this will be on YouTube later. Check Kimberly out on Facebook, and it's Kimberly Dvorak, Dvorak. We'll do it again, and it'll be Monday
next week.
time. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Yep.